Welcome back to What's Next Wall Street. I am Georgia Alfredas.
And I'm Dave Mathews. Now, this is a show where finance, technology, artificial intelligence, and consumer trends all meet into a delicious concoction, or perhaps a stew, if you will.
A soupy mess.
No, not a mess.
You got a topic you want us to cover, or you just want to converse with the masterminds of finance and tech? Not me, Craig and Dave. Okay, you can email us at WNWShow@gmail.com or hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street. Plus, you can watch all our craziness on our YouTube channel, WNW Show. Subscribe and hit that alert button so that you're notified as soon as new episodes drop. We want you to see it. We don't do this for ourselves. Okay, yeah, we would be talking anyway, but I'm just saying we want you in on the fun. So get in here.
Another day, another data, another breach.
Oh my gosh.
AT&T has revealed that a hacker swiped call and text logs from nearly all of its wireless customers. The silver lining, the stolen data does not include the content of the calls or texts or personal info like your social security numbers, which other carriers have released accidentally, or birth dates. It does not have that. But it does show which numbers you've been chatting with and how long the calls lasted. But Georgia, who does calls anymore?
I do calls.
You do? I've got a couple friends that, like, I'll text them and they'll call me back. I'm like, bro, I initiated a text. You don't need to call.
Oh my God, you're so Gen Z. Oh my gosh, it's my kids. They're like, don't call me, mom. I'm like, you better talk to me in front of your little funky friends. I pay this phone bill.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Well, this happened through a cloud provider that AT&T used, and AT&T is on it. They're working with law enforcement, and they've already nabbed at least one suspect. He's going down.
That's good.
Yeah.
Hey, Disney's got some drama off screen. They're diving into major. Listen, is it data or data? And here's why I ask. I did a commercial one time, and they were like, "No, it's not data. It's data." And I was like,
"You can do either one." Let's call it a data breach for this.
I kept saying, I kept screwing it up.
But it goes both ways, right? Because it could be a data center that data is used to store. And now data breach is the typical way that it's called.
Exactly. Data, tomato. Okay. Anyway, data breach after hackers dumped internal communications online. The culprit? A hacker group called Null Bulge. They get a name. They claim to have snagged over 1 terabyte of juicy info from Disney's Slack channels, including unreleased project details, raw images, and computer code. And get this, Dave, the data haul goes all the way back to 2019. So they are not new to this.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, because, Slack is used for so many companies as a way to collaborate when you're working on a project. Mm-hmm. And they made it really easy to allow third-party plugins to write their own little micro apps inside the Slack environment. So we don't know exactly how they got in, but once you can get in through an API, which is like a window into code, it seems like they kept digging back in the troves. So the data, they could have been in there more recently and just dig back into old Slack channels, or they could have been sitting in what's called lurking since 2019. So we're still not sure on what happened there yet. Next up is the Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, as those of you in DC would call it, is gearing up to sue 3 big health companies, accusing them of jacking up patient costs by playing the middleman in medical pricing.
You think?
So, yeah, this just like the healthcare in the US is so annoying to me, considering like what you can get in Europe and like even in Mexico, where drugs are majorly inexpensive. But I don't know if I might. The doctors there.
But you don't want all the things. You really want universal health care? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want it. I want it because I just got sprained my ankle and paid like $1 billion for, I'm about to just, for not only an x-ray, I had to get the crutches, I had to get the boot. And I'm like, listen, I could have gone about this myself if I'd known y'all were going to charge me $8 million for it.
Oh, yeah. And meanwhile, they're on Marketplace, for $9 because I
could have gotten it from Amazon. But honestly, I'm like, what are you charging for these crutches? I don't want them. Take them back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So sources say that the companies in the hot seat are United Health, CVS Health, and Cigna. Ooh. So, Georgia, grab your popcorn over there because you're in the thick of it right now because you are a victim of your own dog who tripped you. And you can watch this showdown with a front row seat. But Gen Z, they're like the honey badgers. That's so funny. We just pulled up this video. I'm in my buddy's house in Tahoe. And we just pulled up that honey badger video last night.
I love them.
Because
they're so tenacious.
There's a meme video that came out 10, 15 years ago about the honey badger and how it doesn't care.
Used to watch. They don't give a damn.
Doesn't care. Doesn't care.
My son.
Look at him eat that snake.
Yes. Do you remember that? That was like the first thing on YouTube that I watched, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's so funny." But my 10-year-old's on a basketball team, and they're called the Honey Badgers, and I really kind of picked the team because they're the Honey Badgers. Because Honey Badgers don't give a damn. Anyway.
Yeah, but those Gen Z, they like the honey badgers. They don't give a damn either when it comes to the big three or any health companies for that matter. Gen Z is turning to TikTok for health advice. How is this even possible?
What's wrong with you people?
According to a new poll, 56% of Gen Z hunts for wellness, diet, and fitness tips on TikTok, with over a third relying on it as their main source of health info. That's pretty cool. I like this. Friends, Google, and actual doctors are way behind in this trend.
That's insane.
Why? But Georgia, I ask, why TikTok, huh?
Yeah, why TikTok?
4 in 1 respondents say it's because it's free and super quick. Actually, does TikTok have a video limit still, or are they allowing long form? YouTube.
Listen, I already told you I don't have TikTok. I really don't have TikTok.
Yeah, me neither. We need a
What's Next WallStreet TikTok.
A Gen Z reporter. Oh, remember when you were our entertainment reporter for that show we used to do in the past, and you had little quick segments?
Yeah.
I'm Georgia, and welcome to my eWorld.
Yes,
adorable,
I do remember
little Georgia.
Aww.
I'm uploading a lot of those videos to
YouTube.
YouTube.com/@NetTalkLive, all together. And some of these shows from 1997, 1998 are so great because we were
such babies.
How to dial up onto the internet.
Isn't that funny?
Yay.
When you look back at how far the internet's come in not even 20 years, it's insane.
And how long we've been hanging out. What's up with you? You gotta expand your friend base. What are you doing hanging out with me still?
No.
It's too bad we get along.
I know. In other news, environmental warriors are taking on Amazon, demanding the retail giant ditch fossil fuels for its deliveries. Now, dozens of protesters rallied outside Amazon's Seattle headquarters on Prime Day, painting the street with Amazon, wrong way on climate, on the street, wrong way, and waving banners of black smoke billowing from delivery trucks. Now, Amazon's sustainability report shows a 7% rise in emissions since last year, despite a 2019 promise to hit net zero emissions by 2040. But I mean, they still got another 16 years to go. And all I see in my neighborhood are electric Amazon trucks. I've not even seen it, but I don't know. I'm not taking sides. Obviously, I want clean air. I'm just saying all I see are electric Amazon trucks.
Yeah, over a year and a half ago, I was in New Mexico and I saw the first deployment of those Amazon trucks, which is a partnership with Rivian. They put a lot of money in Rivian, and we talked about that on prior versions of this show, What's Next Wall Street. So I think it's cool. But look, think about all of the consumption that's happening through Amazon, and Prime Day just happened last week.
Oh, especially.
We talked about it on last week's show. Georgia, you bought a bunch of knickknacks for the family. I bought a bunch of knickknacks for my hobbies of wrenching on stuff. And look, they created a Christmas in July, which, Alibaba was doing it too. They did it for like a fake Valentine's Day thing that they have over in Asia. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. But look, a lot of companies aren't going to hit these climate goals because compute is getting more powerful with AI and processors. And look, Amazon, we all rely on it now. Come on.
I got like 3 packages just this morning. I don't even, I don't even know what they are. I haven't opened them yet, but I'm sure it's something for the kids.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe the automotive group should look into hydrogen power. Now listen to this. California is making waves with the first hydrogen-powered ferry. Now, there have been hydrogen-powered cars. Toyota and BMW have hydrogen prototypes. They work pretty well, but you can't find hydrogen stations anyway. If you think it's hard to find an electric charging station for your non-Tesla car, hydrogen is way harder.
Yeah.
But launching in San Francisco, the Sea Change ferry emits only heat and water vapor, which San Francisco does not need water vapor because in the summer, Carl the Fog just rolls in and it's all too much water vapor.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so much fog in San Francisco, they named him. So, but what's cool
Shut
about this
up.
ferry is it's only water vapor and no pollutants. It'll
Okay.
run 3 days a week with free rides for the first 6 months.
That's
Ooh, next
cool.
time I'm visiting, I'll
I
have
was
to
gonna
jump on that
say
ferry.
you're always on the west side. You
Yeah.
need to go check it out, and then but video it, and we want to see it.
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
do a report from the field, live from the
please
field. Beep,
do
beep, beep, beep,
live,
beep, beep, beep,
live.
beep, beep.
Yes, we need
Got
it.
you
We
guy
need
live on the ferry. Now, for the TikTokers, I'll record the video up and down, but for our
Yes,
show, I'll record it left to
yes,
right. All right.
yes. Of course.
Officials say that this is a huge leap towards a zero emission fleet, pushing the state closer to its emission reduction goals. And what's cool about a ferry is they can put the fuel system at the docks, so they don't have to, they're just going back and forth between two
Yeah,
places.
yeah.
A hydrogen automobile might be that you get from like LA to Bakersfield
And
and
you're
you have no
screwed.
place to put.
You got to
Yeah,
catch a
exactly.
bus and use
That's right.
the gas.
Yep.
All right, so this sucks. John Deere is rolling out more layoffs. The Illinois-based
What?
company just told salaried employees to brace for global workforce cuts starting this month. This move follows a dip in customer demand, rising costs, and economic uncertainties. They've also recently just let go of hundreds of production workers in Dubuque, Davenport, and East Moline. So that's really, it sucks.
You know what
I
I'm going
hate
to
that.
blame this on?
What are you blaming it
The
on?
right. So the Right to Repair Act, we talked about this, or I've talked about it a couple years ago on What's Next Wall Street. It's the ability for you to take what you bought and own and fix it. And with cars, you can go buy a reader, like a Bluetooth reader for your ODB2. That's the port that tells what's going on with your car computers. Or you can go into AutoZone or O'Reilly's and you can plug in an OB2D2 reader. Onboard diagnostics version 2 is what that means.
Okay.
And it'll tell you what's wrong with your car. Now, it doesn't say exactly what to fix, but it might say like a sensor's out or something's not working right. And that's when your check engine light comes on, right?
That's great,
Deere,
right? That's awesome.
that's very cool. But John Deere did not do that. They went the other route. They went the way where you had to take it into a John Deere facility. And look, a tractor can be $100,000 to $300,000 to $500,000 these days.
They are really expensive.
Right? And they have telematics on them. They have talking to the cloud, all this junk. But you can only get it worked on by a John Deere approved
That was a mistake.
vendor. And look, I love my old Porsches. They don't have ODB2. They've got nothing but, using the Jedi sense of like, oh, it sounds. I tell you what, I was at a car show, and my latest '85 Porsche. It was
Stop
running
with the humble brags, you jerk.
humble brag. Yeah, it was running. I thought so well, so well. And then one of these guys said, "Do you hear how it goes?" Da 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 da. And I thought it was just on idle. That's just how that engine purred at idle. Because it's what's called a boxer engine. It's a flat six. And the reason why the engine's not a V6, it has to be flat because the swoop of the rear trunk, because the Porsche engine's in the rear. So it has to go way like a fastback. It has to be a slick back. And this guy goes,
Wait. I'm sorry. Pause. I'm sorry. I don't mean for this to be like an hour-long show like the last one. But so is that just in that car that the engine's in the back? Or is it in the, because I only had a 4-door. So is it just that one?
Just the 911 has the engine in the back.
Aha.
And it generally, like the Ferraris and Lamborghinis are engine in the rear. And the new Corvette finally went to engine in a rear 2 years ago.
Why does that help you?
It helps put the weight over the rear wheels. So when you're giving power, your wheels don't spin out. Like think about how many people that would like floor it and their wheels would
and they're like,
screech.
but that's kind of cool. You're like, okay, all right.
Yeah, exactly. So for Porsche, that's just how they styled. But it started with the Volkswagen with the engine in the back. It's called a pusher. So with John Deere and with my cars, you have this like fight between being able to do a shade tree mechanic, like me working on it myself, or having to go through a dealer network. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of these old timers, they're saying, nope, we're not going to buy new John Deere stuff.
That's right.
We're going to stick with the old stuff that we can repair. But to my story about my old 911, this guy's got that da-da-da-da-da. He said what was happening on my engine is the 6 cylinders, they're all bopping away like a boxer, like a puncher, like Muhammad Ali, punching.
Yeah.
And he said that little bitty noise that only he, like once he told me about it, I could really hear. He said that's because one of my cylinders wasn't firing. And sure enough, I got in there and on one of my drives, the fuel injector plug, the wire that gives voltage to the fuel injector had just rattled loose a little bit. I popped that thing in, Georgia. Woohoo! That thing was purring.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything. Dave's just over here talking
humming,
about car engines. I don't know.
So it's just like, it's just so amazing. Like when you have somebody that really just is dialed into what they're talking about and really can understand what they're doing. And that's my thought about what's happening with John Deere in the market here. That was pretty funny, Georgia. Well, way to go on picking up your phone. For those of you who aren't watching our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@WNW show, Georgia tried to give me a little bit of a what do you call that in the suburbs? You call that a push? Yeah, nudge me.
Yes.
All right, so pushing right along here, say farewell to a Gen X and millennial favorite. Redbox is going out of business, and you know what?
It ain't so.
The Redbox, I had to laugh, which, you see these vending machines for DVDs. And what I thought was cool with Redbox is when they switched to video games. Because think about a movie, those are commoditized with Netflix and with streaming services. Sure. But video games, sure, the cloud is there now to download games, which is what created the drop in game stock. And then, the whole memes of GME and Reddit. But renting a DVD from Redbox was a jam. That was a good way to save money because video games were like $80. So, but after 2 decades of renting DVDs at kiosks everywhere, its parent company, Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment, which they bought from
I had no idea. I had no idea. Shut up. I didn't even know that.
Well, they had sold 10 years ago. So my buddies had software that was running on the Redbox computers so you could remote control them because basically it had Macintosh minis inside of those things. Shout out to my crew who made those that software for that system.
Oh wow.
And but yeah, Chicken Soup Soul for the Entertainment, which is the longest name that whatever, has shifted their Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is for reorganization, to Chapter 7 liquidation. So it's time to stream on, friends. And I guess since video games are mostly going to the cloud anyway, then that's fine. So, and that's a wrap to our stock minute that went way too long.
This portion of the show is brought to you by OptionsPlayers.com. Tips like these are your inflation shield, but I'm actually talking about tips like TIPS. That's Treasury Inflation Protected Securities. If you want to dodge inflation like a boss, you got to consider tips. With real yields finally above zero, tips are bringing in higher income while keeping inflation at bay for the long haul. Hold tips to maturity and any potential price drops will not phase you. Now, if you're rolling with tips through ETFs or mutual funds, expect some value fluctuation, but don't stress. Rising yields and fund rebalancing could reward you with higher income payments to counter any price dips. So here's the bonus. Inflation bumps up the principal on your holdings. So it's a win-win.
All right, everybody. This is the part of the show where we get to hear from you, and we want to. Please call us. No, don't call us. We don't like calls. Slide into Georgia's DMs. She loves that. You can hit us up in social media at What's Next Wall Street. Comments on our YouTube page. Check out our YouTube. Go bebop bloop and type in those comments below. Or you can always email us that OG thing that people still email. It's true. It is the killer app for the internet.
I like emails. I write back. It's all good. Do it.
Yeah, what's up, y'all? So you can email us WNWshow@thegmail.com. And Paul Hahn, he's from Milpitas, California. He's writing, should an average Joe buy an electric car from a new make like Rivian or Lucid if they might not be here in 10 years?
That's an interesting question. I got to bring Greg in. I have a friend, you know him, Russ Parr. He has a Lucid. I just think that's the ugliest car in the world.
But the Lucid Air
is not average Joe. He just said average Joe.
Yeah, he did say average Joe.
Versus a major producer celebrity. Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's not, I don't like it. I think it looks like, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't think it's all that
pretty,
cool.
It's funky cool. And it's like, everyone's saying that they love them if they have them. And a lot of people
Russ loves it. He loves it.
It's the same way you're a vegan. You got to tell everybody you're a vegan. I rented one. And then if you're a Lucid, everybody that drives a Lucid, it's the best thing ever. It's it's this whole thing like, I'm a vegan, be a vegan. Everybody that owns a Lucid tells you they own a Lucid. By the way, they only sold like 600 cars in the first quarter.
I never see them. Right? There's like one person in my neighborhood with one.
So first, let's not even get talking about that. Let's talk about what Russ Parr, okay, which one does he have? Does he have that Lucid, not the Air one, that's the bottom one, right?
I have no idea.
He has the Sapphire one, the really nice one.
It's
250 grand.
Yeah.
Okay. Porsche lover,
cool
go find me a Porsche that you won't buy before you buy that. Because I can go buy me a 911 GT3 for 250 grand.
I can go get me a Porsche for 80,000.
So which one are you going to buy?
I'm going to get the Porsche. Sorry.
You can buy 10 Porsche EVs before you can buy one Lucid EV. We're not buying it, okay? Yeah. Number two, it's the same car as the Plaid. That's what they made the Sapphire to compete against. But one's $150,000 more. So you could buy two Plaids and give Greg 50 grand for saving you money.
I like it.
And you still got the Tesla Plaid. So is the average person going to buy that Lucid Sapphire? No, but they have the Lucid Air, whatever. It's the knockdown version. And I'm not going to say it's bad, but you're still talking 60, 70 grand. So now go look at the inside of it and everything. It's not a luxury brand. And it's the same way Tesla does have problems with the final fit, the final finish. You know what I'm saying? The lines, the edge, how everything closes. There are a little bit of things off. How's it going, guy? And then, when you really want to really look at different things, are you going to compare that with, say, a BMW M4 or a nice little Mercedes interior? And that's just that. And they come with electric. More off, how is it going to compare who's really knocking it out of the park? And I'm biased because, yes, I have a Kia Stinger. My wife's car is a Kia Stinger. But they discontinued the Kia Stinger to make the Stinger's gone away, and it's going to be the electric replacing the Stinger, and it's like a 60 grand car. I bet you that thing will smoke the crap out of it. First off, because it's Korean, but I mean, go find a Genesis. Genesis,
which is made by the Honda. Now that's a cool looking car.
For the same price, that thing's going to have you could go buy a Bentley cheaper than you could buy that Lucid Sapphire, but you can buy a Genesis, which is going to be extremely nice inside, just as good as everything else. And that's the problem with Lucid and the Rivian. I actually like Rivian. I think they're a lot better priced, okay? Yeah. And we'll talk about them after this. But Lucid, it's not. They're competing against Tesla. They came out with this little lower car to compete against the Model S or the Model 3. And then they have their fancy one to compete against the Plaid that's very high performance. They're the same car.
Yeah.
It's the same car. It's just what, and you look inside it, you're like, I don't know about this. My car looks nicer than this. So am I going to pay 250 grand for it? Or am I going to go get a Bentley? I'm grabbing the Bentley every time. Now, the Rivian one, on the other hand, is a little bit different. I don't know the model numbers because they're like R1 or whatever, but they have the, like the little crossover SUV one that's reasonably priced. But once again, competition comes into play, right? So you have everybody competing.
Oh, there's one for 61,000. Oh, that's 2022. Never mind. Carry on.
Right. So you have everybody's coming up competing. So now when you're talking about 60 grand, you are now competing against BMW.
Yeah.
Mercedes. Now you get to the 100 grand, you're in the Porsche area, and the more Maseratis and stuff are not Maseratis, but even the nicer cars that are coming up.
Yeah.
So do I think it'll be around in 10 years? No. Rivian, maybe. Lucid, absolutely not. It will not be here. I'll put money on it if you want to meet me 1-to-1.
Well,
Rivian, on the other hand, is, like he said, Amazon, I think they're the largest stakeholder, somewhere around 15%. But you just
not
had
anymore
Volkswagen just bought.
There we go.
They loaned them a $1 billion note, which is basically a note is nothing more than a bond. Like, hey, you owe me this back. But it's a convertible. It's an unconvertible. So basically, at the end of the thing, they're going to convert it into shares. Okay. But then they're going to continue to do this. So they're going to loan money. And there's tax reasons and other reasons why you do that. I'm not going to get into why they do that in corporate finance. But they'll probably end up owning $6 billion worth of shares in the next few years. So it will be the same way every other American company car except Tesla since 1940 has happened. They started it. It sucked. It was a good car, but it just never made profit, right? It just never actually got to that level. So now someone else went in, They sucked it up. Now they're going to put it in their portfolio, take all the crap that they learned from that car so they don't have to spend it on R&D to put into their car. So and that's it. That's why Volkswagen is doing it. They're buying all their R&D, and everybody that was involved in it's going to make a lot of money. And all the people that think it's going to work out and they're buying the stocks right now are going to be one holding the bag.
But here's the other thing about Rivian, which I think Rivian, why it's a good buy, even if you don't buy the car. We talked about this a couple shows ago. They are getting into the charging business, which I think is really where the electric car market is going. I don't know if I told you guys this.
Go ahead. Georgia, the charging networks, which is Electrify America, Volkswagen had to create that because of Dieselgate. The government said, "That's right. You better do something.
You better fix it."
But to Greg's point, this Rivian investment by the Volkswagen Group, it's because the Rivian software, just like we were saying with the owners of the Lucid, people love them. The Rivian owners love the software inside of that vehicle.
Yeah, and I don't know if I told you guys this, but remember I ordered a Hummer like 2021.
Yeah.
Finally came in.
You?
Finally came in. Now that I can't afford it, Dave gave me. It finally came in, and so what did I do? I went and bought it. My husband's like, "I will murder you. What is wrong with you?"
How much over MSRP are they trying to charge you for?
It's so badass. I don't even know. It was like 109.
Did you pick it up?
His Aston
Martin?
I
got it. It's badass. And I said, you know what's going away? Your freaking Aston Martin, because that's a P-Wagon. Bye-bye, Aston Martin. So, but let me tell you something. Yeah, so I ordered it in 2021, and when I tell you, and I've had Jeeps, I grew up in Texas, so a pickup truck is that's like me. Like I need a pickup truck in my life. And it is my favorite truck that I have owned in my life over Range Rovers, over Jeep, over Ford Bronco. But how about this? So I ordered this truck in 20.
Was it MSRP or not? That's what I want to know.
Yes.
Good. All right. You didn't pay a premium.
No, I didn't pay a premium. But here's why. So I had a car in the shop at the Next dealer, and she was like, didn't you say you ordered it? It's over there. I was like, do what? They got my truck over there. I marched my little butt over to the dealership, and I was like, why didn't y'all call me? This is the truck I ordered. This is exactly the truck I ordered. And they're like, yeah, somebody else ordered it, and they decided they didn't want it. I was like, are you crazy? You have a list of gold. Why aren't you calling? I know personally 3 other people who ordered this truck who have been told, hey, your truck's not coming in. And I was like, I want this one. I will take this one right now and give me the papers. I'm signing them. Let's go. But they had like 3 or 4 on the lot, and they weren't calling people to say, hey, your truck's in, because it wasn't the exact one I ordered, but it was the same color. It was a pickup truck. It had like $10,000 worth more stuff on it, which I would put on it anyway. They raised it. Yeah, they raised it. They had the tires.
$8,000 window tent. $8,000 window tent.
Yeah, they put all the things. But guess what I would do? Guess what I've done with every truck I've ever owned? I got to raise that thing up. I got to put the big funky tires on it. So I was like, great. I take this out the door looking like I want it to look. But I was like, you goofy salespeople. You call everybody on the list and say, hey, I know you ordered an SUV, but I got a pickup truck. You want it? I should be a salesperson, because what are they doing? But here's the thing.
But how many doors? It's a 4-door. But does it have the T-tops and the T-tops or sunroof?
T-tops. You can take the whole roof off, and it can crawl, but I can't figure it out. But here's the problem. So we had to, we had to put the charger in our garage, and we got a 3-car garage, but we have the pillars between. I can't even get my regular cars in. So it won't fit into our garage because it's so wide.
Wow.
So we charging it is a bitch, because we can't put the truck in our garage, which sucks because it's just too wide. But anyway, that's my.
I've heard this before. Other people have bought these, and they said that they don't know what to do.
I got it home, and I'm like, I would never take it back. I literally told my husband, I was like, let's get that pillar moved from our garage. He's like, are you insane? That's holding our house up. So I didn't think that
beam cost you like $15,000.
I told him. He's like, you want me to spend $15,000? But I will tell you this. Someone at the dealership said, do not buy this truck. you lease this truck, which I've never leased a car in my life, but they were like, you have to lease this because you don't know what's going to happen with electric cars in the next 2 to 3 years. So that's what we did. We've never done it because I feel like that's kind of throwing money away. Like,
well,
I'm
no,
like,
if you have a company, like, look, you're an actress. Do you have it, through an LLC?
I do.
Or,
and it's 9,000 pounds. So it's a company car for sure.
Yeah, good.
But I just, it feels like to me, like I have nothing in 3 years. And what do I have to show for
Georgia,
myself?
This is the right play though. When I'm buying my old 911s, those are investments that I can drive around. I'm restoring them. I'm making them worth more in the end. Cars today are like appliances, and leasing an appliance that is software is going to go get better. So full self-drive might actually be all of those things. And then most of all, batteries have a limited lifetime, and an engine, we can take apart a Porsche engine, send it off to 4 different people to get it rehoned, rebored, whatever, put it back together. With a battery, it's going to cost you $10,000, $20,000 to revamp. So you made the right decision. And that weight limitation, Greg, have you been following that? Because I've had other friends that have used.
A Hummer is the number one drawback on the Hummer, besides being big, is its weight. It's going to be over that. So you're still able to collect that. And it does. I mean, you can always. I'm not going to tell you how to get around on your taxes, but
please do.
Yes, you can do it. I mean, like you said, you most of the time you're a 1099 employee, right?
Yes, always.
So yeah, everything you can claim against that. So that's what I would do. And like leasing, I would almost always say leasing is a bad option on most things, but in some cars, if you don't drive a lot of miles, it can be better. Now, if you're driving a lot of miles, like you're someone that drives like 30 miles a day or something for work both ways, leasing might end up costing a lot more, because when you take it back, you got more than.
Well, we got the extra mileage because we know that we drive. But here's the thing on it. It only gets like 200 and maybe 80 miles per fill up at 80%.
But that's a Hummer.
Per
thing is
per charge.
Yeah.
So we're not taking this thing to Houston. I know Dave said there's a place in the middle, but what if you get in the middle? If you get to Corsicana, Madisonville, what if you get there and it's broken?
Centerville,
Centerville.
It's sacrilege. You live in Texas. If you don't stop at Buc-ee's at every Buc-ee's to fill up, there's a problem.
So why doesn't Buc-ee's have let's go Buc-ee's. If you're listening, Buc-ee's, get the charging stations in. Come on.
They're going to put them in, but
So we're not driving that. We're going to drive our gas powered car. If we're taking a road trip, we can't drive we're not going to drive the pickup truck because we can't go too far. So anyway,
well, Georgia, I can't wait
my Hummer.
to be invited over to see it.
Yeah.
And, send us some pictures here.
I will.
We had
pretty cool.
We had the gender reveal right here on the show. What's Next Wall Street?
I'm looking for Dave brought me a little, and I had it in my office here for the longest time.
Car. Yeah.
He bought me a Matchbox Hummer because he was like, you are never going to get that car. And I honestly thought that was the truth. But
I love that you got scrappy and saw it on the lot, but I knew in my heart of hearts that they had one that was all souped up, and you paid a premium for that. So you did. You might have paid. You might have paid MSRP for the truck, but they got you hook, line, and sinker on those add-ons.
Okay, but guess what? If I added it on myself, I had to do it on my son's Bronco. We spent an extra $8,000-$10,000 doing all the things, getting it lifted, getting all the cool lights, and the Hummer just has it. I could listen.
Yeah,
even
it's
my
already
husband.
done. You can drive it immediately.
It's already done. Even when we got there, he was like, "Oh, that's badass." Okay, yeah. Because he's normally no way, can't believe it. We're not taking this. We can't spend that kind of money. This is stupid. No, but. Says the guy who drives an Aston Martin.
Well,
but anyway, carry on.
Hey, I hear that Aston Martin needs a little work and it might be coming up for sale. Does that need to come over to the Gadget Guys shop for
it's gone. It's gone.
Oh, it's already gone?
It's gone. Bye-bye.
Wasn't it at the dealer for 3 months?
Okay, y'all, this is how our show's become an hour long. Okay, so here's the problem. So we had a little fender bender coming from the country club. I'll tell you how that could happen. But anyway, Steve had a little fender bender, and it cost $95,000 to fix a fender bender on an Aston Martin, and it was in the shop for 6 months. So guess what? It was just sitting in the garage because he's scared to drive it, not because he cares if he hits something, but because he knows he's without a car for however long, if he has any kind of scratch. So he wasn't driving it. And so I'm like, get rid of this car. You're not even driving, just taking up space in the garage. I could be driving a Hummer. But so
what did he get out of it when he sold it?
I have no idea. Are you seriously asking me that?
All right,
Why would
I'll
I
ask
know?
him.
I don't know. Honda Civic SI is cost $30,000 loaded.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't know.
Yeah.
What to get out of it.
All right, let's go to our next email. We'll keep this going on. So,
Yes.
so the long and the short of it is buy a car that has other investors going into it, like Rivian and Lucid, Ocean. Fisker Ocean they're selling those for like pennies on the dollar. I'm thinking about buying one just to like mess around with. But as soon as something breaks, the car is going to be bricked until there's a network of guys like me. And maybe that's my new career. Maybe I go from gadget guy to Porsche guy to Fisker Ocean guy
to Ocean. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I did some work on the Aston. I put some suspension stuff in it, but anyway.
Yeah, no, Steve told me how you went in there trying to just like, it needs to work, fit in here. Yeah.
I got it in. It just needed a little love tap. Hey, this next email is from Shannon Lupari in Gaithersburg, Maryland, who writes,
hey,
what does Greg think will happen if the Fed starts easing rates in September? This is a broad question, and generally, during election times, a lot of people don't like to rock the boat. So election will be like, what's up, Greg? The floor is yours.
First off, the Fed had changed their mind a million times, right? Mm-hmm. So yes, the Fed is political. I don't care what anyone says. They're political. And if they say they're not political, that's how you know they're lying, right? If they say they're not, right? They have been political. You have Janet Yellen. Yeah, right? Oh my goodness. It's political. First off, I don't think she's ever been right about an economic decision she's ever made historically. And inflation is transitory, although somehow the inflation's still here with us, right? So let's not get over that. And then you have other ones their jobs, okay, are, I believe the Fed, it's a 14-year, I haven't been to school in a long time to know how long Fed presidents actually stay on, but when they get put on, it's a very long time. I think it's 14 years or something. But when people's years are coming up, you're going to do what that person that's going to give you the job wants you to do, or you're not going to have the job. So to think it's not political, guess what? If I want you to do this and you don't do it, I'm not putting you back in that job if I'm the one that wins, right? So they have to play, the ones that are on both sides kind of have to play both fences politically. I'm not a fan of lowering rates just to lower rates to say, oh, people need to be better. No, I don't think that's the case. And we have them maybe September lowered is what they're saying. If we can see a trend of inflation going down. This time last year it was like at 3.3, and then they say it's at 3. It was actually at 3 last year in June. I have the map. I could show you the chart. It's on the Fed's website versus 3% now. So it actually, it goes up and down, but it is slightly going kind of going against it. And I don't really want to pull this up, but you can go to the Bureau Labor of Statistics website, which is just bls.gov. Type in your consumer price index and it will pop you up with a nice little graphics that shows you the adjusted inflation through everything. And then to show you what really is inflated. The number one thing inflated for us is what? And remember, we're talking about rates, so we have to talk about inflation because that's what's really driving them. Food, by the way, in-home food, not away from home food like McDonald's, but in your house food. I mean, you could see this, a big jumbo bag or a family size of Doritos is $8 or something, right? It's absolutely crazy. And then you
cereal. I'm like, y'all can't eat cereal anymore. You got to eat Cheerios and because they hate Cheerios. So that box will last a long time.
And then housing is actually stabilized, but it's slightly higher because everybody, they bought at a really cheap rate and now it's really high. So they can charge today's rates, so they're making their money off of it. But really, those are the two things you got is food and housing. Everything else is kind of stabilized at the norm. Those are the ones that are excelling and really holding us up. And the other ones are still high, but they're not making us not go down. So you can actually look at all this. And when you look at the chart, it's pretty flat. So with a slight to the downside, but I mean, if I'm losing 0.1% every year, we probably don't need to drop rates if you're really trying to get to that 2%. But then now what they're saying is if we wait for it to get to 2% and then we adjust it, there's long-term effects that'll take it below 2%. I get that too. So I don't know if they should lower them by a lot, but if they just lower it, 0.25 or something like that, and just see what happens, I got you. Because nobody knows. I don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what's going to happen either, right? Nobody does. And then continue on. Do I think it's going to affect or boost the economy? I don't know. I thought the economy was doing the best it ever was, according to all the news, right? So why do we need to lower rates? Anybody? If the economy is actually doing the best that it's ever done, then you don't lower rates.
Well, it's because they're not able to buy and sell homes, right? And that's
if the economy is doing the best that it's ever been.
But who said the economy is doing the best it's ever been?
Right?
Everybody knows that.
Everybody that, huh?
Yeah, and then jobs are, we're not having.
Yeah, you got to say it. John Deere just laid off a bunch of people. Now, however you wanted, you can blame that on the strike in 2021 where they're like, oh, we will come back. And then John Deere is like, oh, whatever, I'm just going to move, all production of the top part of the tractor to Mexico. Yeah. Oh, look what we just did. We got 6,000 people that are manufacturing jobs. 10% of you are now gone because we're moving it to Mexico.
Yeah.
And it's just going to get, it's business. That's just how business is done. That's where you're going. You get too expensive, someone else is going to do it for cheaper.
That's right.
It is what it is.
Right.
But yeah, I think they might try to lower it in September. And we see this going into elections a lot where they lower the rate in the election year only. I don't know if that's going to be the case if they lower that rate, what that's going to do for you. But the thought of it being lowered will lower the mortgage rates more dramatic. So we can go look at, so you can go look at, hey, what are the current federal rates? If you want to go look that up. And you might say, okay, they're like at 3.3 or 3.5 or, whatever they're at. And then mortgage rates are at 7%. But just the thought of them maybe going down in September, it might go down to 6.7, right? So if they do drop at 2.5, it might, make people think it's going to drop it. We're actually going down now, and that might lower them down into the 5s and so on. But I don't think we should have 2% housing or 3% housing. It's just, I look at it from my standpoint of making my own money. And I know that's selfish to me, but I don't really care.
Kind of a little bit.
But this is the thing. I want to borrow $100,000. Give me $100,000. And in 1 year, I'm going to give you back how much? How much do you want back for loaning me that $100,000? You don't know me.
Yeah. I'm going to need 10% back.
Okay. We are not at 10%. Houses are at 6.8 right now.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So who is loaning you this money? You just want free money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You don't need the $1 million house. You don't need to live in your real fancy neighborhood. You can move to Memphis and live in my old house, and it'll cost you $400 a month, right?
But you better watch your back.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Everybody wants to keep up with the Jones, and that's what pushes prices up. All the neighborhoods that nobody wants to live in, like we kind of discussed a lot of the white flight. It's not just that, it's the young flight, right? Old people stay in the house because they've lived there forever. These younger people want to move up, keep up with Joneses, and they move to the nicer neighborhoods. And then that neighborhood just isn't nice in 30 years anymore because they built something shinier and newer next to it.
Yeah,
so they all moved to that. And then they're like, oh, the neighborhood got bad. No, it didn't get bad. It got bad because all the money left it.
Yeah, that's
and then you sold your house for cheaper. And then if there's 5 houses for sale, which one are you buying? I'm buying the cheapest one. So it becomes a game of sell my house for cheaper, and then it dumps those and makes the neighborhood not as good, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But
I think you bring up another good point of why people move to places like Texas. Like if you move to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there are a million different places. You don't have to live in Dallas. There's so many surrounding cities where you can go and afford. Like if you don't want to, you don't have to live in Frisco in $1 million house. You can live
outside of anywhere in Dallas.
That's right.
I mean, even McKinney. I don't want to make fun of McKinney. But McKinney used to be like, oh, you could buy, 5 years ago, you could get a nice house in McKinney for a couple $100,000.
Forget that.
Now that's your HOA fees,
That's right. You're right. Yeah. But the thing is, nobody, if you're not from here, you're not doing anything in Dallas. I'm from Dallas. So I want to go to Dallas all the time. But the people that are moving here from other places, they are fine living and prosper in their little network, which is
Yeah,
a
but
city
you're
close to
talking
Frisco.
about like within a mile of your place, you have more than I got within a year of mine. It's like, so it's a different style of living, of course. But
Yeah.
in September, if they lower it, I think it would happen. How will that affect the stock market? It's this. I don't want a chicken and egg thing, right? If the economy is doing so good, I shouldn't have to lower the rates. So if I lower the rates, the expectation is the economy's not doing as good as it should be. So I need to lower rates to incentivize growth,
Right.
to do more. So by lowering rates, you're actually saying companies aren't planning on doing good in the future, but it's just not what it is. It is political in the sense of companies want low interest rates for their reasons. I believe interest rates could slightly go down, but I'm not a fan of ever getting near 1 or even 2. I think they, and that's just me. I think when they were about 2%, I'd have to look them up. When they're around 2 or something, I don't know, 4.5% on a house or something like that.
We're at 5.3 now, so that's you probably like it. We're at 5.33% right now, as of July 15th.
I don't know what to tell people. Just I want to say things like pay off your house faster, or I'm not a guy that says pick up by your bootstraps or anything, but
that's basically what you're saying.
Everybody that has ever had this argument, and you got to remember, I teach for a business program for the MBA, and these are college educated individuals with degrees, normally in the field. They're 30-ish, coming to get their master's degree, and they're going to sit here and they will argue some emotional standpoint of why they did this or why they did. I'm like, first off, you're in business and you think you deserve anything. That's why your business is failing. Because if you ever owned a business, you work 80 hours a week, and and you made $2. That's when you make nothing. You make your money on the sale of your business. That's when you make your money. You don't make any money when you're working in it, right? Especially like tech guys, they ain't making no money till they sell it, right? Until they start selling parts of it.
Right. All right, Greg.
So, I would say look at that. Market's going to go where it goes, but hopefully it goes down 2 small moves by the end of the year is what I expect. And it's all political.
Okay. Thanks, Greg. We love hearing from y'all. If you've got questions or you just want to say hi, we are here for it. Listen, we're going to go on and on unless we stop it. So sorry. But you can also reach Greg if you want to hear more information. Reach out to him at greg@optionsplayers.com. So whether you got questions, comments, you just want to share your thoughts, whatever it is, hit us up, WNWShow@gmail.com. You can post your questions and comments on social media at What's Next Wall Street or on our YouTube page. You can just, comment below. We want to know what you think.
Okay, George, I want to keep you in this segment because I want to talk about how scared we should be of AI. Now, in the beginning of this year, people started talking about AI encroaching in the creatives, like what we're doing. Now, the hackers who have been tinkering with it are getting some kickback from the investors. And we talked about in last week's show. So be sure and tune into last week's What's the Next Wall Street to hear my thoughts on that.
Okay.
And then Elon has just said that he's delaying the time that he'll launch the robotaxi, which is all software driven by AI. But really, regarding AI, have you seen what it's producing? Georgia, my favorite video is on the Instas. It's a montage creation that starts with a girl skiing, then moves into a world where fire is exploding in the background. She gets snow on her face, slides into the ocean, and all of it looks like Steve Jobs' final acid trip. It's just ridiculous.
Wow.
Another video that AI created shows a ballerina growing a third leg, dragging herself into another person to merge into one, then dropping into a reverse backflip and making a second person come out of her tutu. I mean,
holy cow, I gotta look this up.
This is all bizarro. Yeah, you can find all these on TikTok and Instagram when you search for AI video. And look, it's obnoxious. It's weird. It's, like I said, Steve Jobs' final acid trip. Now, last week's show, I talked about how Andreessen Horowitz, Sequoia, and even Goldman Sachs, which does the corporate M&A stuff, say that AI needs to pay back $600 billion in order to justify the expense of the some $200 billion that are going into startups in the field. And this doesn't count the billions of dollars on top of that are going into data centers that AI is requiring right now. So, Georgia, you're in the content creation business, right? Hollywood is kicking contracts around regarding AI creation. You've got Meta that's saying that stuff needs to be flagged and tagged when it's created with AI.
Yeah.
Now, this kickback that we're seeing from around the world with an AI value it's real, right? What value are we getting out of AI when it's creating all these weird monsters? And what worries you today about AI? Because look, you've been living in it.
For sure. Listen, I'm worried that it's going to take my job. I mean, even when I post something on YouTube, it asks, hey, was anything here created using AI, using something that wasn't real? And for me as an actress and a broadcaster, I know that AI can create someone who looks just like me, sounds just like me. Maybe even with my vernacular, it's incredibly scary for me, you know? So
Yeah,
that's
there's
what
groups
worries
like
me
11
most.
Yeah, I was in our gallery the other day and we were looking at these birds, and these birds were made of Velcro, and it was very arts and crafty. But they were showing how crows can be trained to go pick up things. Like some people have trained crows to go after money. Some have gone to teach crows
What?
to get shiny things and then fly them back. And this was
In real
really cute
life. In
because
real life.
in real life, yeah,
That's
people
cool.
can train birds to be thieves, and you can find these videos on TikTok
Crows,
as
though.
well.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, birds are very smart, and birds are one of the few animals that use a tool, just like humans can use a tool. A crow or random birds can use a stick to pull something out of a bottle, or think about the birds that poke sticks into holes in trees to pull out a worm.
Yeah.
So that shows some pretty strong cognitive discipline there. And
Yeah.
also think about it. We operate in basically a two-dimensional space. We're walking, we're bipedal, where birds have to operate in a three-dimensional space where they're
This
up,
is
down, left,
true.
right.
Yes.
So I think AI is going to unlock some very cool secrets. Like we're able to decode that whales now call each other by name, and they have a first name.
Shut it.
They
I don't believe
also,
anything you're saying.
yeah, no,
How
it's
does
true. They
AI
also
know
have a
this?
last name
How?
because we can't understand the frequencies that they're using because we're not tuned to their vocal patterns. But AI, with let's call it unlimited range of hearing, and hearing I'm
Fact
putting
checking
in
you
air
right
quotes.
now.
Yeah, do that. So whales have pod names as well as first names. And this is what I'm excited about. AI is going to unlock secrets that we don't have the ability to comprehend. And it'll be a benefit over what your fear is, which is they took our jobs, which is, South Park is so good at inferring what's going to happen in the future. Georgia, what I see your mouth aghast. Tell me, what are you reading from my fact check? Let's hear
It
it.
says sperm whales may have names. Yes, you are right. Yes, it comes from exactly what it sounds like. Wow. And I'm looking at the video. Sorry, I started looking at the video because it's so interesting. Oh my gosh, he is right about the whales. I'm the fact checker on the show and I had to fact check you. This is insane.
Right?
Wow.
Now,
Oh my gosh.
now, now, South Park has used a production studio to build and maybe it wasn't South Park doing this. Maybe the production studio just like did this as a what can be done. But they created a whole South Park with AI. But if you think about it, their characters are very low resolution. Their voices can be, created pretty easily because there are lots of content for the characters. But as I was saying with this bird and crow situation from the art gallery, you know how art has a little placard that tells you about the artist? Well,
Yeah.
as my friend and I were reading this placard, we couldn't help but think about how David Attenborough would explain these birds in art. So, very quickly, we took a picture of the placard. We copied and pasted it, right? Because Apple Photos now lets you pull text out of an image. We then opened up the 11 Labs interface, pasted this word into 11 Labs where there is a David Attenborough voice. And as the artist came back to the art piece, we said that we did a hack of his art in real time. And we played him the audio from the iPhone of David Attenborough reading the placard. And the artist
Wow.
got such a kick out of it. But thanks
Wow.
to AI, we were able to remix his art nearly immediately, right? Between a photo, a cut and paste, a paste into 11 Labs, and then a David Attenborough generated voice. And that sort of, let's call it the hacker mentality of remixing art, is what I'm excited about, because the ballerina merging into the other one and the multiple fingers on artwork, that will
Well,
ultimately get better. But
well, I
really,
want
you
to
need
know that
humans
that's
driving this.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I like that because I know that's not real. Like, I talked about it terrifying me about taking my job. I'm also terrified that, as you said with the voice, how do I know? Like, somebody's calling me, it sounds like my mom, but it's not my mom. It's AI saying, hey,
Yeah.
send me $100 million. So
Right. And that
that's the
happened
other
with
thing.
Biden, right? There was a company that used a robocaller using Biden's voice, and they were fined significantly because you can't impersonate people. But yeah, this will absolutely happen. And the only thing I can think of there is to try and help you through this situation is if someone like your child calls you from a police department, you just very kindly say, perfect, tell me which police department it is, and either say, I'll be right there,
Mm-hmm.
or better yet, hang up the phone and call that police department and
Right.
figure out, because this is absolutely ripe for fraud and behavior that is going to be personal, impersonating people to retrieve things. And look, this happens with email all the time.
With
I get
everything, there's
emails.
fraud. Yeah.
Yeah, I get emails that say like, "Hey, we need to wire that money out of accounting right away." And I'm able to track those, and my team is trained to not send money unless they have like a policy and a procedure to do this. But it happens to everybody, right? So
Yeah.
here's what I think. With that whole South Park, they took our jobs. They nailed it with immigration, but really, who wanted those jobs, right?
Right.
Americans don't want to be like
Yes.
farm workers anymore. They want to be doing knowledge work jobs, right? And AI does have the potential, like if we're looking to decode human understandable messages that whales and crickets and monkeys are their languages, like why wouldn't that expand to other things that we don't know about? Like think about the forever chemicals that were developed in the 1950s and 60s, Teflon and companies like 3M, Dow, Monsanto. They all created these chemicals that are now in the environment. And
Yeah.
microplastics, they say, are built up in fish, which then humans eat. So now the microplastics are in us. So how do those former darlings of Wall Street back in the decades before us, how can we use AI to clean up the problems that they created? Now, for me, AI has the potential to unlock these needles in the haystacks that we normally wouldn't be able to find because we're just monkey brains, right? We can only play, we can only figure out things on our own very slowly. And remember, a lot of inventions are accidents, right? The 3M Post-it note, that glue was a glue that didn't work,
Yeah.
right? It was a failed glue, and only one person decided, like, hey, we could use this to temporarily place things on monitors, like your password. Please, by
Yeah.
the way, don't put your password on a monitor attached
Side
to a
note.
Post-it note, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So
But
look,
listen,
AI.
I love Dave. I love how you have this positive spin on AI. But I'm in the same place I was when we first started talking about this 3-4 years ago. I am the sky is falling girl. It scares me. I'm sorry. It's still scary. I would love it if we could all these wonderful things you're talking about. Great. Let's figure out how to fix this and let's learn this from
Yeah.
AI. But I think AI is going to be learning too much from us, and hackers and frauds are going to use it to get from us.
That's
Sorry.
true, but that's what the goal of this show is, to make you more intelligent so you can stay up to date not only on what's happening in the market, but also what security you need to think about in the new digital world. And we have tremendous energy needs for electric cars. Like you just got your electric Hummer. When you plug into that in the Texas grid, like, the Texas grid has not been the most stable thing in America, right?
I know.
And then think about the devices that didn't even exist when the power plants went online after Edison pushed alternating current to homes versus Tesla's direct current ideas, right? We have a tremendous demand for energy. And as we talked about on prior shows, Google's not even going to hit their energy goals for 2030, right? So maybe AI can figure out a way to enable power generation to be more efficient, maybe breakthroughs in solar or even nuclear secrets that can be unlocked, like the salt bath reactors that Bill Gates' company TerraPower is deploying as of this month. By the way, take a look at TerraPower.com if you want to read more about that. It's a brand new nuclear design that separates the nuclear side from the power generation side as a way to have different levels of workers between the two different sides of the house. And also those nuclear reactors don't melt down as well. So will AI take your job? if you're a paralegal, I'd probably be worried because, yeah, that's a maybe. But no one is a steam engine mechanic these days anymore, are they? And when's the last time that you thought about getting your milkman to deliver you milk or coal via truck, right? A lot of jobs have gone
I hear
away.
ya.
And Georgia, your creativity and your knowledge, the path that you've taken from your broadcasting beginnings to where you are now is never going to be replicated by an AI. They need
Let
to.
them know, Dave.
Yeah, I'm going to let them know that. So, hey, keep tuning into this What's Next Wall Street. We're going to cover all these things as they drop. And for now, we good.
Well, Dave, Pfizer is shaking up the weight loss game with their latest innovation. And this once daily pill is set to be a game changer, working by boosting insulin, slowing down digestion, and making you feel fuller longer. Sound familiar? It's kind of like the shot. It's like a secret weapon for weight loss. Now, right now, Pfizer's perfecting the dose to make sure it's just right before they roll out the big clinical trials. This could be the next big thing in fitness. It can't be the next big thing in fitness because this is not fitness. This is shortcut, but whatever. Listen, no judgment. I'm just saying, this could be the next big thing. Maybe I should say in health. I'd rather take a pill than a shot all day. So what I want to know, Greg, is should I be investing in Pfizer now? Is it too late? Is it too soon? I don't know. Should I be? I would much rather this than a shot. And everybody wants
fitness,
to get rich
right?
quick thing. Now I want to get skinny quick. Let's go.
So Dave, what's better than 7-minute abs?
5-minute abs.
Right.
Yeah, you know what's better than 5-minute abs? A pill that does it
no
for
abs.
you. Right.
Exactly.
I'm working on a keg. I want.
Well, I got that. All right. So, yeah, Pfizer has been down pretty bad, like most pharmaceuticals, because they're still being paid crazy amounts of money by the government. COVID was 2020. We didn't really have a vaccine until the very end. 350,000 people, passed away. The next year, people don't understand this. A whole lot more people died, 500-something thousand people died, and we had a vaccine, and they were just printing money left and right. Next year, even more people died. I don't know what it was, 200-something thousand. So somewhere around there. So it hasn't gone away, and they've been making money off of the vaccines. Pfizer and everyone else. The government, I believe the average pay, the last time I looked at this, because I really wanted to know what the government was paying for these vaccines, and it was like $20-something a dose. The only problem is when I do the math, and I'm like, unless every person in the United States is getting 5 doses a year, which let's just say nobody's getting that anymore or ever on average, where are all these doses going from the money that went to it, right? So whatever, I'm not going to talk about government spending, whatever. But Pfizer was making about $100 billion in rev, a few billion a year. I don't recall exactly what they were making in 2022, but then they had about a 50% drop in net profit, and most of that was coming from, they're not making their money on the COVID. That's understanding. And the stock market has dipped pretty low. They're sitting around 25, I do believe now. I'd have to actually go look to see where they were actually at during COVID, but I can probably assume it was like 50, 60 because they were just making hands over fists, and it wasn't going to continue. So there's one thing, people, they're not going to go get a vaccine shot for COVID, something that can kill them. But, if you want to stick an experimental drug in your arm to lose some weight, all of Americans over.
Isn't that crazy?
That, right?
Yeah, I don't need the shot to possibly not make me die, but could you get one to possibly make me lose 20 pounds?
I'm not one of those people that say go get all these vaccines. I'm not crazy, but at the time I was in the military, I was retiring that year, and there was I don't know if I want to get it. I was like, guy, they handed us a package of pills to take when we got into certain countries. They're not even labeled.
Yeah.
And they were called Skittles, and we just took them.
Yeah.
But you're complaining about this vaccine. I don't even know what I took when you handed me that. It was some anti-malaria, everything pill. And you're worried about this? I was like, come on, man. We're going to die of a lot of stuff. I don't think it's going to be this, but whatever. So their money's drying up. And now what you're talking about, I can't pronounce the drug. Okay,
I can't either. That's why I didn't say it.
Yeah.
It's like 14 syllables.
Let's call it GLP-1. Okay.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
kind of
I'll go
thing.
with it.
So you had the same type of drug that was a little bit different. That was a 2-a-day GLP-1 that Pfizer had came out, but people weren't losing as much and had worse side effects. So they readjusted it. Now they got GLP-1 once a day, which is the current one. So they're going to take it in. So you have to understand this might never come anywhere, but over time they will find one, right? What makes it really important is nothing in the United States is happening more than United States people are getting fatter. For example, I weighed 80 pounds less than I do now 5 years ago. But I was also running probably 5 miles a day. But everyone is just, obesity was probably 40 to 50% of America, fact checker.
Yeah.
Is obese probably.
Let's look it up.
Yeah. And the government, regardless of what people think, these pills probably cost about $1,000 each. Right. And you're probably like, there's no way these people can take, or that's the prescription. It won't be every day $1,000. But the prescription is probably running you about $1,000 for this before everything. But then if it lowers weight, what does that do for heart defects, diabetes? Because it is an insulin thing. If it reduces all that, it could lower the cost of healthcare on like Medicare and everything like that. So if that actually becomes the case, then Medicare is actually going to provide the dosages for this to lower the other stuff. And even if it doesn't, some lobbyist is going to put some spreadsheet together to show that it actually does save the government some money somehow. And they're going to pass it because it's a pharmaceutical company. They paying off all the politicians. Let's just be honest. So all the media guys, because the only thing you see on TV now, if you ever watch TV, is pharmaceutical ads. All the other ads are on social media.
That's true.
Well, TikTok, number one thing on TikTok is pharmaceutical. I'm not going to say which one it is because they need to pay us to talk, but
exactly. Okay. Real quick. Let me give you these percentages. 39.6% of the U.S. adults are obese. Another 31% are overweight, and 7.7% are severely obese. Now, for Black and Hispanic women, we're the most. So that's because I got a big ass. Okay, I ain't nothing I can do about it. These thunder thighs, these Texas thunder thighs ain't going nowhere. But yeah, so we are. 40% of us are obese. That's entirely insane and scary.
So really, some people.
But that's 20 pounds over. Obese.
Some people will be able to afford it. But
yeah.
But we look at this it doesn't matter if it's some Weight Watcher program. It just makes money, and everybody gets in it, and it's a fad. So it's a race right now, and it's been a race in pharmaceutical to get a pill that basically makes people lose weight to do nothing. I don't think that's healthy in the long run, because then if I give you something, you're just going to do less and just take the pill. So that might even be worse because now you do no exercise for heart health, right? So now your heart's not getting stronger. It's a muscle. But it goes back to the thing, the pharmaceutical lobbyists will be able to, this proves to work, push it so insurance and Medicare and everything will actually cover it. And then everyone will be on it until there's a lawsuit because there's a side effect. Yeah. But at that point, don't worry about it. They've already made
There's a side effect for everybody, everything and everybody. So, are you having alcohol? Are you eating Cheetos? Are you eating Takis or whatever they are? I mean, there's something that will hurt you in everything that you do.
Look at the chart and you will see pharmaceuticals normally go in the same way of, up and down over periods of time. But
should I buy it?
Fast.
Just tell me. I just want to know. Should I buy
yes.
it?
I said
okay,
yes.
Good. All right, that's all I want to know.
It's down about 20 something, half off of that.
Hell yeah, I'm buying it today before everybody else does.
I think there's better options elsewhere, but the market's straight up, right? The market's going straight up.
All right.
Everything is going up and Pfizer is going down. Those are the things I'm looking for, because if the market does go down, Pfizer's already down, so at least probably won't lose as much. But yeah, I'm not a pharmaceutical investor whatsoever. I'd rather stick it out to, a group of pharmaceuticals put into some type of fund.
Greg. I'm buying Pfizer. I gave you all the tip. You better get on this Pfizer.
Yeah. But if you can get
don't blame me.
20s. So before you dive into this, remember what we talked about last week, where there's some the medical kicks and the price gouging, right? So there might be some uncertainty here.
Absolutely.
As well.
Oh, real quick.
there's
Real quick,
major
I want to
price
tell
gouging.
y'all, here's the places that are going to be taking these pills because these are the fattest places in America. Oklahoma, in order. Oklahoma, 40%. Louisiana, where Greg is. Mississippi, Tennessee, Ohio, Alabama, Indiana, Delaware, and Kentucky. So a lot of southern states. You know why? Because we eat good. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. We eat.
Chitlins.
It is what it is. All right.
All right. It's
Listen,
another
thanks,
1-hour
Greg.
show of What's Next Wall Street. Thank you, Greg. Do you have questions? We got you. Hit us up, WNWShow@gmail.com, or connect with us on social media. The @ What's Next Wall Street is where you'll find us on the socials. Slide into those DMs. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Hey, catch all our episodes on YouTube by searching WNW Show or tune in on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. It's time to take trips. Be listening to our just put us on replay. Just listen to all of the shows. I mean, when you're driving, you're going to learn so much. And we have fun. So do that.
That's right. That's right. Our past shows are amazing. So I need you to subscribe. Tell your friend about the show. That's how we grow. We need your help to
That's
grow
right.
because our advertising budget is 0.000%. And yeah, tell your friends what you're learning about the show. We love to hear it, whether it's Spotify or our podcasts on Apple, you name it. Just forward to a friend. I'm Dave Mathews, the host
And
here.
I'm Georgia Alfredas. Yes. We will see you next time on What's Next Wall Street. I'm sorry, Dave. I cut you off because God dang it, this show was too long again.
Bye, Greg.
Wait, Dave. I'm sorry, y'all. I know we said we were done. I wanted you to show us where you are. Just show us where you are. Can you turn your phone around?
Those
I'm
of
sorry.
you watching on YouTube, I am in the
He had the window open, but we're like, dude, we're doing a podcast.
Redwoods Forest. I'll open it
This
now.
is beautiful.
Look at that redwood tree in the back.
It's so gorgeous. Uh-oh. We're losing you. We're losing you.
It's good
The
to
sound.
it's good to have friends that can invite me to cool places. So
It's so beautiful. It's awesome.
right.
Okay, I just wanted y'all to see. So you're gonna have to watch that on YouTube if you want to see where Dave is.
all right, I'm gonna
For
go to the
real,
lake
bye.
now.
For reals. Oh, another humble brag.
Bye.